Alaska is so beautiful and so important to us personally that it's hard for Congressman Don Young and me to fully explain to people in Washington how deeply Alaskans care about the future of our state. Alaska is not an easy land. From the very beginning, thousands of years ago, to the present, those who have made our great land their home have had to work hard. We live in Alaska not because life is easy. We're Alaskans because it offers the opportunity for a better future than what's available for our kids in the lower 48 states. Don and I spend a lot of our time in the House of Representatives and in the Senate educating our colleagues about Alaska's frontier spirit. We tell them Alaskans want sound economic development, but not at the expense of our state's natural beauty and environment. We try to make sure Alaska's unique needs always receive full consideration as decisions are made by the federal government. In territorial days, Alaska's delegates traveled to our nation's capital by ship and train. They came home in July and went back to D.C. in January. They came to see Alaskans on the job and in their offices. Don and I fly home 12 to 15 times a year, spend a few days, and then go back. Even during elections, we're in Washington except for about 6 weeks, 3 in August and 3 in October. We reach our constituents through short television or radio bites of time. We'd love to have 5 full months at home to be able to talk to each Alaskan. Time and distance constraints and the need for us to do our jobs for Alaskan Congress make that impossible, but we intend to do our best as the election season continues to reach out to as many Alaskans as we can. Recently, while we were at home on one of those brief recesses, I discussed with Congressman Young what I believe is one of the most important challenges we face in the 90s, the need to maintain a balance between protecting our environment while at the same time working to provide economic opportunities for our people.
I'd say our #1 job is still to harmonize what Washington wants to do in Alaska with all of the environmental protections that Alaskans believe we need here.
One thing, too, Senator, that bothers me a great deal back in Washington, there's some concepts that we're not considering the people factor. And, of course, our job and my job has been over the years to recognize the role that people do play in the balanced approach of economic development in the state. And I've tried to relate to my colleagues back there that we are talking about people. We're talking about the environment. Alaskans wish to protect it, but we're also people here that have to have the wherewithal to generate an economy for themselves and, of course, the future generations.
I've tried to explain to the Senate, that in the long run, we have to maintain a job base to provide the economy of Alaska that we need. And that means that we have to keep looking and looking and looking for the resources that our nation and the world need
at this time.
And the interesting part about it is that you live in the House. The House is people-oriented. I live in the Senate. We're state-oriented. They like to look at the whole state and forget about people. And thank God you're there and have got the interest in people, and a lot of the people in the House really are more job-oriented than the Senate. And that balance is what's really kept us alive in the long run.
Just a few hundred yards from Senator Stevens' offices, the challenge that Alaska legislation faces here in the House are quite different. Like every state, Alaska has 2 senators, but because of our small population base, we have only 1 seat in the 435-member House of Representatives. Yet every piece of legislation that becomes law must pass both the House and the Senate, and that makes 2 things very important. Having a united delegation that can work together, and we have that with Senator Stevens and Senator Murkowski, and seniority in the Congress. Senator, we have a 3-man delegation, 2 senators and, of course, 1 congressman. Many times I'm asked by Alaskan constituents, what can we do with just a 3-man delegation? But the seniority plays a major role in this. With the longevity I've had there now, going on my 19th and 20th year, that makes me one of the senior members of the total House in a position of vice chairman of 2 major committees. And I believe that when you are in the majority, and hopefully we will be in the majority in '92, you'll be an ability to be a chairman of 2 major committees on the Senate side, and Senator Murkowski also.
That's right, and in the Senate what it means is we get a chance to ask questions, to present amendments in order of seniority, so that if you're sitting way down in the end of the line, you come up last after almost everyone's gone and the fights have taken place. Where small states have the greatest protection is with people in the Congress who have seniority. Think back in the days of Carl Hayden and Barry Goldwater in Arizona, or in the state of Washington when they had Magnuson and Jackson.
They had the seniority then as we have it now.
Many people remember the great things those people did, but they don't realize how they were able to do it. They were able to do it because they had the combined seniority and the ability to raise the issue before anyone else got their issue raised.
We're lucky to have Don Young in the House of Representatives. Quite honestly, I don't know what I'd do without him. The tragedy of the oil spill in the Prince William Sound is a good example of our teamwork. While I went to Alaska to see what could and should be done to clean up that mess, Don stayed in Washington to work on the first national legislation based on what we had learned from the Exxon Valdez tragedy, so we could try to prevent oil spill disasters in the future.
For more than 20 years here in Washington, as a member of the United States Senate, Ted Stevens has served notice that when it comes to protecting the interests of all Alaskans, his is a strictly no-nonsense policy. His seniority and ranking position on key committees, commanding knowledge of the issues, and dogged determination have made him a force to be reckoned with. As much as anyone, he is responsible for protecting our special way of life.
Senator Ted Stevens and Congressman Don Young are a winning team for Alaska. Together with Senator Frank Murkowski, they have proven to be one of the most effective delegations in the U.S. Congress. Their vision for Alaska's future, leadership ability, and understanding of the issues are but a few of the reasons for their success on behalf of our great state. They're also committed to the difficult but obtainable task of maintaining a balance. Senator Stevens and Congressman Young know that we can protect our environment for this and future generations, while at the same time ensuring economic and employment opportunities for all Alaskans. Through the sensible development of our natural resources and the diversification of our economic base, our state can continue to be that very special place that captures the spirit, heightens the imagination, and quickens the pulse. That very special place we call Alaska.
Now, this videotape is a new way for us to let you know who we are, how we work together for you, and how much we love the state we all call home. We hope you'll tell us if this is a good way to do that.
We would indeed welcome your comments regarding this video. Any of the subjects that we have discussed, or for that matter, any other issues of importance to you personally or for the general well-being of our state. You may write to me at my campaign address shown. Congressman Don Young, care of Alaskans for Don Young, Post Office Box 100298, Anchorage, Alaska, 99510. And if you would like to write to Senator Stevens, here's the address of his campaign. Senator Ted Stevens, care of Stevens for Senate Committee, Post Office Box 100879, Anchorage, Alaska, 99510. Senator Stevens and I would also appreciate your vote of support on primary election day, Tuesday, August 28th. Remember, if for any reason you are away on election day, you may vote by absentee ballot beginning as early as 15 days before the August 28th primary. For specific information on how to use the absentee ballot, contact the Region 2 Election Office at 1313 East 3rd Avenue, Anchorage, Alaska, 99501, or phone 276-8683. Thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time. We look forward to hearing from you and working together to make Alaska an even better place to live and work.